Hello and welcome to Cake Craft and Decoration Magazine DVD with myself, Cassie Brown. I've been airbrushing for about 10 years now, but I've been cake decorating since the age of 14 when I saw a lady make this beautiful orchid. These are sugar orchids that I've made here and they're all airbrushed. As you can see, you can be very delicate with an airbrush. There's some more techniques here, which is a sort of marbled effect. We have this stunning cake here, which I'll be showing you later on in the kitchen. We also have this pumpkin, which I've done this lovely carved effect. So first, I'm going to show you how to make this fabulous snow cake. So let's go to the kitchen. So now I'm going to show you how to use the airbrush. It's very simple. This is your airbrush here, and this is your compressor. Now what we're going to do to start with is turn it on. You can see the light goes on high. Now what we're going to do is press it to medium and then low. Now that slows the airflow down, it makes it easier to control. Now we have a constant flow of air coming out of this airbrush, and this is our lever. When we pull the lever back, we're going to release the colour. So what we need to do now is put a little bit of colour in. We count the drops, 1, 2, 3, 4, should be plenty. And then we're going to go down to a piece of paper. We're going to gently pull back this trigger. Can you see the colours coming out immediately? But if I go really close, I can do a very fine line. Now the further away I am, and the more I pull back the trigger, the more the colour comes out. So this is how I'm going to be doing my shading effect, like so. We can also do some little dots. And let me just show you the difference when we're really close to get that fine line. Now I'm going to keep my finger still and move away and then closer, away and then closer, because you're going to need this later on when we do a little bit of shading. So now I'm going to show you how to make the mountains that we're going to do with the snow effect. We get a piece of paper and I'm just folding it in half. Get a knife just to cut that. And this is going to be our stencil that we're using today. Now hold the two pieces together, because then you're making two stencils at the same time. And with a pair of kitchen scissors, we're just going to do the snow effect. Now if you tear this paper, you'll get a lovely grass mountain effect as well. But I'm just doing a snow one today, like so. And then we're ready to start airbrushing on our cake. So make sure you've got colour in your airbrush, and then we're going to put the stencil along to see whereabouts we're going to put our mountains. We can hold the stencil up a little bit so we get that into the right position. Now I'm just going to rest it there while I turn my airbrush on again and to low. We always make sure that it's the right colour coming out of the airbrush, that's very important. And then we hold our stencil down and very gently, I'm going to be half on and half off the paper to do this line. Now can you see I'm moving, it's on a little turntable and it's moving around as I'm going. And the air that's coming out of the airbrush is actually pushing the paper against. So let me just spin that to show you. That's our first mountain. Now we keep going round to do this. And we can change our mountains, they haven't got to be in the same position. We might want a nice higher one here. But we must make sure that this is tight to the cake. I'm just going to show you how to, you can see there I've got a little bump. So we're going to turn that into a larger mountain in the background. Now this time we're not going to go all the way along. I'm just going to airbrush from the one mountain to the other, and I'm just coming back towards me. We don't want much colour, this is just a rough outline. As you can see, it covers up any little mistakes there as well. Maybe do a smaller one, and it just gives the idea of depth onto the cake. And you can gradually build that up all the way around. We might want some lower hills, maybe coming from here. and stop there. We haven't got to go all the way along when we're doing this. Now I'm going to put my airbrush down, and then I'm just going to cut this so it's a little bit shorter. Now I'm going to rest that to the bottom, and as you can see now, I can introduce some more mountains to give that lovely snowy effect. And as I said previously, you haven't got to go all the way along, you can stop there, and I think it looks really nice by doing that. Like so. And then we keep going all the way around. So now I'm going to show you how to do shading effects. It's a very simple effect to do, and it looks stunning. You can use it on wedding cakes, birthday cakes, but this time I'm going to be doing it on this Christmas cake. So I've already got a little bit of blue colour in here, and what we're going to start doing is gently moving across the cake. Can you see that very pale bit of colour that I'm getting? Now let me just show you on paper what I'm actually doing here so you can see. I'm flicking the airbrush, and as I'm flicking I pull back the trigger and then I'm releasing it. So it's fading to nothing. This will stop you getting some lines in there. And we're very carefully coming down to our mountains because we don't want to go over the top of those. And then where we have a nice long bit, we can do our stretches. Now don't be too far away from your cake. If you're airbrushing over here and your cake's there, the colour's going to come out and get a little bit bored and float all around your kitchen. So please make sure you're close enough for the colour to actually hit that cake. So very carefully. Be careful of those mountains. Now to do this bit, I'm just leaning down. Please note the angle of the airbrush has changed slightly. And then I'm going to stop to put in my moon. So this is my sugar paste here. I'm just kneading it a little bit so it goes a little bit sticky. Now I don't want to add water to this because when I pull this moon off, I'm going to get a big wet patch, which I don't want. So the idea is just to get it a little bit sticky in your hands, roll into a ball and then flatten. Now if you're not very good at doing this, you can get circle cutters, and obviously they're all different sizes as well, so you can have whatever size moon you want. And then what I'm going to do is just place that on there and carefully, can you see how I'm moving it out gradually? Be careful not to lose that circle underneath because this is your template now. So if you have any square edges, it will stand out. So make sure that's nice and round, like so. Now I think we're ready to start doing the shading again. So we pick the airbrush up, turn on, and go to the low setting again. I'm just going to put a little bit more colour in now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to start again whipping over this. So from side to side. Now I'm going to spray quite heavily on the top. So at the moment you can't see that it's really dark. We will build it up gradually as we're doing this, because this is where we want it to be really dark. Now can you see I'm flicking now to build up where I want it dark. Now we make sure there's no lines in this, because sometimes when we're doing this, lines will appear, so just make sure that there isn't any lines. If there is, just gently go over. So remember earlier I showed you how to do that nice fine line? We're kind of doing that to colour it in a little bit more. So then I'm going heavier up here. and then gradually move around the cake. So those 4 drops have gone. You can see I've covered quite a large area. So I've put a few more in, ready to do the rest. So can you see I'm gently moving this around as well? Now for you at home, a top tip, if you use a cardboard box and cut the front out of the cardboard box, and then you can use that as a little spray booth, you won't get the colour flying everywhere. Keep your kitchen nice and clean. So make sure we go all the way around with that. Now as you can see, I've done that, and I haven't done the top on purpose, just to show you, you can get a very nice crisp edge along the top. You haven't got to cover it with anything. And also there's no colour at the bottom as well. But we are actually going to colour the top now, so I'm aiming down at the top, and again, pull back the trigger. And again we're going side to side. And this is going to be quite dark now. You see how it's turning colour? And can you see it's starting to go a little bit shiny? When it goes really shiny, that's when we need to leave it and then come back later. Now what we're going to do is introduce a little bit of black. So I've run out of colour, and I'm going to put black in here now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black. Just make sure it is coming out as black, and then we're ready to spray. Now I'm going to hit this corner first, because that's the bit that I want dark. And again, we're just spinning it round as we're gradually doing this. So now I'm hitting the top and the side. Now this is where you have to be careful. You don't want to be too dark, too low down. So do it quite faint, and I would only go just under the moon with this. And then we're going to add some more black to the airbrush. And we keep going. Now don't worry about the sudden change, because we'll go over it again in blue to make it all tone in. But we need to just get the colour difference right. And we need to make sure it goes all the way around the cake. You must remember a cake must look good at the back as well as the front, especially when you take it to a wedding venue and they've got mirrors all around it. That could be quite interesting. So I'm just covering that now with quite a strong black. So now just even it out, make sure you've got that nice level, and then it comes all the way around where it should. Once you've got that, we can start going back to the black, to the blue now, sorry. So now I'm going to get rid of this colour. There's some black in here. This is a cleaning jar. So what we're going to do is spray the colour into the jar. Now if you spray this directly into the sink, it will get really messy and it will fly around your kitchen again. So make sure it's contained in the cleaning jar. So there's no colour in there, and we're going to put the blue in. So it looks like I've used several shades of blue, but actually it's all the same blue. It's just blue and black together. And as you can see now, it turns into that lovely navy blue. So we're taking that blackness away now. And then I can turn this slightly darker as well. Just keep topping up on the blue. Now never put more than 10 drops in here, because if you accidentally go wrong or tip, it will all fall out the top and you'll end up with a big blob of colour. So always keep adding the colour. It's much easier. And then keep going round until you're happy with that shading of colour. Just a little bit more on the top there. So now we're going to wait for that to dry. So I'm going to leave the moon on there, and as you can see it's still really wet because it's shiny. Now as soon as that goes matte, we'll start working back onto the moon. But now what I'm going to do is show you about mixing colours. I'm going to turn the airbrush on and turn it to that low setting again. And we're going to mix a green. Now the green that's straight out the container is a very sharp green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those in there. So to tone it down, I'm going to add some brown. And we're going to add 4 drops of brown. I'm going to give it a little wiggle. Now don't do this too much because it will all fly out the top, so just gently. And then we're going to test it on a piece of paper just to make sure it's the correct green. And you can see I haven't emptied it completely there, but the green comes out perfectly on top. So now what we're going to do is focus on here and do some little trees. So have a little look at your landscape and see where some trees might fit nicely. I'm going to just do a couple here. Now these are going to be very close, very small little triangles. You can see I'm not going, they're almost hiding behind the mountain there. Now be careful not to spray too much because you'll end up with a wet mess. So I'm going to go onto the paper in a moment and show you exactly what I'm doing. So there's 3 trees in the background. So I'm just going to show you on the paper what I'm actually doing. Can you remember that very fine line that we did earlier? That's what I'm doing to colour my trees in. So I'm doing a tiny little triangle and then I'm colouring it in by going side to side.